that Nadia, I hope name, has joined. Pastor Baker, welcome. Raquel, welcome. Terry, it's a pleasure to have you. Terry Ann, we're glad to have you. Go ahead and utilize the chat section. Send me your flags. I want to see if we have anyone else joining us outside of Jamaica and the United States. And use up your reactions, use up the chat. We may be at a distance, but the internet has a way of bridging that distance, because I want it to feel like we're having a conversation. We're having a conversation one to another. So the next item on our program will that you be continuing to hear in the lovely light music in the background once we resolve a few technical issues. But Allison will do the intro. We'll tell you a little bit more about myself, so you get to understand a little bit more about me instead of just seeing the United Kingdom. And I am glad to have you with us, Samsung, but I don't know your name. So if you can't edit it, just go ahead and type it in the chat so that I will feel like, you know, I am talking Nicola. Thanks a lot, Nicola. Galaxy, if you're hearing me, please just go ahead and let me know your name and what country you're joining us from, as we'll be transitioning to Allison telling you a little bit more about myself if she's ready. If not, we'll move straight into a brief interview conversation between myself and Allison.
All right, thank you so much, Crystal. Are you able to hear me very clearly? Can you please let me know?
Wonderful. You're good to go, Allison.
All right, thank you so much. And welcome again to everyone who has taken the time to join us this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. I am extremely grateful to all persons who have taken time out to be here. And before I officially introduce our amazing moderator, I just want to remind persons who are not, so you have not identified yourself by putting your name, please indicate in the chat so that I can officially rename you. All right, so for persons who are, for example, Samsung, SM, etc., just indicate in the chat, and then of course I can rename you from my side. All right, so it's not a problem once you let us know who you are. So thank you so much to everyone, and I am going to officially introduce our amazing moderator. Right, fueled by the words of Mala Yousafzai, when the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. This young woman is on a mission. This gifted communicator works as a communication specialist who connects online and offline to the heart of her spoken, written, and digital messages. Her budding talent transcends journalism studies to work experiences as a motivational speaker, television host, student journalist, television scriptwriter, associate producer for a magazine show, and even producing and hosting her YouTube channels, Crystal Scale and A Light of Wisdom. Her passionate desire to create the changes she wants in the world goes beyond communication to philanthropic pursuits. Her participation in initiatives that mentor and empower youth and efforts to plant seeds of kindness in the lives of vulnerable citizens fulfilled her mandate. All right, so I'm going to allow someone to mute. All right, can you remember to mute your mics? All right, so I'm going to officially start again. All right, can you remember, everyone? I know that, yes, sometimes accidents do happen, but can you remember to mute your mics? All right, I'm going to start again as I officially want to present this amazing young lady. All right, okay, so fueled by the words of Mala Yousafzai, when the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. This young woman is on a mission. This gifted communicator works as a communication specialist who connects audiences online and offline to the heart of her spoken, written, and digital messages. Her budding talent transcends journalism studies to work experiences as a motivational speaker, television host, student journalist, television scriptwriter, associate producer for a magazine show, and even producing and hosting her YouTube channels, Crystal Scale and the Light of Wisdom. So that's her YouTube channels. Her passionate, also Crystal's passionate desire to create the changes she wants to see in the world goes beyond communication to philanthropic pursuits. Her participation in initiatives that mentor and empower youth and efforts to plant seeds of kindness in the lives of vulnerable citizens fulfilled her mandate to motivate others to be compassionate. Today, her charitable initiative, 40s, makes a notable impact of the lives and mind of Jamaican society. 40s, a passionate project she launched at the 2018 Miss Manchester Festival Queen, has blossomed from championing sustainable, environmentally friendly practices to doing charitable endeavors. Her team of volunteers combines advocacy for environmental protection and awareness with promoting nation building through social outreach. As a result, upcycled products like scandal bag sleeping mats for homeless individuals were created from thousands of discarded plastic bags. Furthermore, the charitable arm of her initiative helped residents in Manchester, Kingston, and St. Elizabeth. Some projects included donations of over 2,000 reading books, back to school supplies, chicken rearing business supplies, and annual care packages and food for homeless and financially challenged families. Overall, lives, minds, and actions benefited from the efforts of the 40s team. Rooted and grounded in who she is, she stands for, and the impact that she wants to make. Her passion has received national recognition and the privilege of serving in various leadership positions. Some notable recognitions include reigning as the 2018 Miss Manchester Festival Queen, 2019 shortlisted nominee for a Prime Minister Youth Award for Nation Building, and a 2020 Governor General Achievement Award for Manchester. Her 2020 installation as a Governor General achievement, as a Governor General, I Believe Initiative Ambassador. So that was her 2020 installation as a Governor General, I Believe Initiative Ambassador, has been another opportunity to further her social outreach efforts. Crystal Scale is undoubtedly a woman on a mission to use her words, voice, and actions for good. Ladies and gentlemen, It is my esteemed pleasure to present this wonderful young lady officially to you, the humble, the helpful, the dedicated, and loyal Miss Crystal Scale. Over to you, Crystal. All right, so we're not able to hear you, Crystal. I think your mic is muted.
All right. Yes,
Okay.
there's a little reason it being unmuted, but thanks for letting me know though. I was just saying, I listened and I said I should probably make that bio a bit shorter, but thank you so much. I think all of that sounds wonderful, but it's just in short to say God, to receive inspiration to just try and help people. You see people in need, just help. And that's what Allison is aiming to do with this book. She has dug deep and chosen to be vulnerable, to share her own life experiences, to make it very practical that you have actionable steps that how can you get from the stress of what you're facing, the challenges of what you've gone through and you're going through to get to the point where you get those actionable steps to arise. You can be that phoenix to arise from the ashes of the challenges of life. So don't mind the brief removing of the video. I just noted a little internet glitch, so I just want to make sure it doesn't affect the audio so you can hear me clearly. Thank you so much, Kathleen. I'm really appreciative of it. And Charm, thank you so much for the applause. I appreciate it. But I didn't accomplish any of what Allison mentioned alone. I spent a lot of time in prayer. I've been blessed that God answered my prayers and sent amazing persons to support me, to hear the vision, hear the idea, hear what I felt like God led me to do. And because of that, these projects were a success. Because of that, I felt like God chose to give me a recognition. I wasn't necessarily looking for some of these awards. It's an interesting story, but the thing I find so amazing is how Allison may deserve some of the very same awards that are mentioned and even more that are not mentioned. And I believe the same applies to you. And that's what this book is about. It's helping you to dig deep, think different, and to get a guide, a helping hand where maybe you don't have someone to talk to guide you out of the challenges you face so you can arise from any situation. You can switch your mindset to achieve the success for the goals that you want to accomplish. And so we're going to segue right into our interview segment with Allison. So Allison, join me on the floor now as we are going to learn a little bit more as to your book. I have a few questions that I'm looking forward to asking you. And I want you also to think about the questions that you have for Allison that you might have burning questions because she has been keeping this book under wraps, not giving away too many details. So definitely prepare your questions. Kathleen said, he made us in his likeness. We can create and enlarge our borders. I tell you, Kathleen, Alison doesn't seem to be the only one who has a way with words. You do, and you've said it so beautifully. And Alison, as you join me on the floor, my first question that has been burning for me to ask you, but I want to say something before I ask you this question because it made me think about something. Alison, I find that persons tend to find the name Malala an interesting one. The pronunciation is also very a tongue twister. So it's Malala Yousafzai. When the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. And I found Allison to be one of those voices rising up to guide, to support, to teach, to empower. And so I would love to hear from you, Alison. What inspired you to write A.R.I.S.E, your A.R.I.S.E book? And why was now the right time to share it with the world? Allison?
Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me? Okay, thank you so much. All right. So thank you again, Crystal. So my motivation behind this book. All right. I must say to you, so this is not the first book that I have read, right? And the motivation behind this book in particular was, I must say, it was divinely orchestrated by God himself, right? So there is nothing that I do without God. I do get a lot of inspiration to write. This book in particular, it came from a place of reaching to a level with God, a place of me realizing how much He is the sole source of my strength. It also comes from a place of maturity. And so it's not just spiritual maturity, but also something I like to term as mindset maturity as well. All right. It comes from a place of me recognizing and appreciating who I am as a woman, especially. So as a woman, yes, as a human being, but most importantly, as a woman, and not just a woman, but someone who has experienced so much. And this book in particular is one where I am very open with persons. So persons get to see a side of me that they have not seen or known about, outside of the fact that if you know me personally, you would not have known some of my experiences. So for me, this book, it's it is very personal. It is very personal, but it's also something that I know that God wanted me to do. I had the idea um 2 to 3 years ago, but I was waiting for the right time to actually write this book officially and have it up.
Thanks, Allison. And I think when you hear a title like A.R.I.S.E, it definitely makes you think something has to happen because that is a call to action. It's an encouragement to say that you need to take steps. And even though you would have gone through your challenges, we're so glad that it helped to be a tool, a lesson, an experience converted into wisdom that helps the next person who's going through their own challenges to have a guide to help them. And we thank the Lord for inspiring you in doing so. But we're curious about the hummingbird, though. It is such a unique symbol. How does it reflect your personal journey?
So the hummingbird, what I observed primarily about the hummingbird. So first, it goes back to my Jamaican roots. All right. So it is definitely inspired by my roots in Jamaica. Um, However, I'm just going to showcase the book. Not certain if you're able to see. Just let me know if you're able to see. All right. So this is the book. Not certain if you're able to see very clearly. All right. But just to say, this hummingbird in particular, it's not the official hummingbird as we know in Jamaica, because our hummingbird in Jamaica is very much unique. So it's the Dr. Bird for who know, for persons who know. All right. So just in case there are persons here who do not know, the hummingbird in Jamaica is the only species that is found in Jamaica in particular, and that is the Dr. bird. All right. However, this hummingbird that is on the cover of the book, it's not the one represented in Jamaica. All right. But my inspiration behind the hummingbird, I will tell you, where I'm living now, I in a, I would say maybe a country area, as we know, or as we would say in Jamaica. So the part of the UAE where I'm at now, it's a country area, and every morning I wake up, I listen to the birds. So I listen to the birds, and this also comes from a place of me meditating, of me just appreciating the smallest of things. And so every morning I get to hear the birds. I started to even observe the birds more than ever. All right. So I will tell you this. So normally, of course, I appreciate God's creation, but I have never really taken so much time to observe birds. And I will say this to you, well, I have not seen a hummingbird here, but just to say this to you, it was somewhere in between reading my Bible, somewhere in between talking with God, and I heard the sound of the birds outside, and somewhere in between, it took me back to my roots in Jamaica, and I just thought about the hummingbird. And the hummingbird in particular, it's a tiny bird, but what I observe about that bird is that it keeps busy. All right, so you will never really observe that bird being still. All right, even if it's at a particular flower, its wings are always flapping or going. So I observed that, and I just saw myself like this hummingbird. It's small, but it's focused. It it keeps busy, and it's also very particular. So you will not find this hummingbird normally in flocks. All right, you will find this bird maybe solo at times. Most cases, when you observe the hummingbird in Jamaica, you will find that bird solo because they're very rare, right? And somehow God just started to reveal to me in just that very, observation. I started to, reflect on the fact that even where I am located now, there are times when it gets very lonely. I feel almost secluded at times. All right, but in this time, I took the time to spend more time with God, just appreciating everything that He has created. And God just showed me that I want you to keep busy, just as the hummingbird is busy getting what it needs to get done. It keeps focused. So this bird is tiny, but it keeps focus. And one of the most amazing things that I love about the hummingbird, it's by research, it's the only bird that is able to fly backward. And just because, so the particular motion, and I found this from extensive research, you will see, I made mention of it at the back of my book. So it appears that it is flying backward, but it's actually at a standstill where its wings are still moving. So it's in a position that it appears as if it's going backward, but it's just in a particular position before it makes any particular turn. It's at this position. And there's so much revelation that came to me from this bird. It was at a standstill, but that doesn't mean that it was lazy or it was not doing anything in particular. All right, so I could go on and on, but I am
Yes.
just, yes. right?
It's, I can hear passion, and I think just listening to you, it makes me imagine you sitting on a chair, looking out a window in your living room, reflecting, missing home, finding a symbol that reminds you of home. But when you learn about the bird, like Joan says, it's a rare species. It spoke to you about yourself and how God is saying to you, you are small but mighty. You can keep in motion and get stuff done, even when things are not perfect, but just keep your focus. I love that. I love that, Allison. I want to also find out from you, as you mentioned about some of the challenges just being away. What about the challenges during the writing process? Is there one specific moment that comes to mind as far as you feeling like you wanted to give up? And just share with me briefly what you'd have done to keep yourself going.
Okay, so yes, there are definite times when during the writing process I wanted to give up. So writing itself was writing the book itself, it was not very difficult for me because I am passionate about writing, etc. All right, and this one came by revelation. So I will tell you this one, this book in particular, uh, was finished in, let us say, a little less time than for example, my first book. All right. Some of the challenges I had definitely was the fact that I'm not able to, afford, for example, an official editor, and all of the things that persons would have probably been able to outsource to other persons. So the challenges were that I had to do everything uh, for myself. So writing, editing, proofreading like 12, 14 times. That part was a little frustrating. Also, even getting persons, so I asked a few persons to, consult with me on some little aspects relating to the book. But I found out that I had to do basically everything relating to the book primarily for myself. I must say that there are some persons who probably would have wanted to assist, but their workload was too much and they would not have been able to do so. And there are professionals who could assist with this type of thing, but then I was not in the position to afford these services. So there are many days that I spoke to God and I say, hey, I need your help down here. I need your strength. Hey, I need you. And so I had to change my schedule significantly. This meant working throughout the night, and but overall, I had a pretty flexible schedule, and I must say that, of course, there are no regrets. You know, just to encourage persons who are here, because I know that you're going to, if you're maybe planning to write your book or already have written your book, you have to keep going. So when you write one book, there is just this motivation. Well, for me, that was a particular motivation I had just to keep going. So when I wrote this book, I thought that, hey, it was going to be just it for now. But right after I wrote it, the Lord just dropped another idea in my spirit. So the work continued, right?
Amazing,
So
Allison. So amazing. And sorry to cut you. Look like you were just about to say something. I think you even helped me to segue in the next point, because you look like you're just about to answer the next thing I was about to ask you, which is just your words of encouragement. But I want to focus on something though, as you're delving into that encouragement. Persons are going to leave this platform, and we don't want them to just get a bit of motivation and inspiration sitting here. We want them to take action when they leave, which includes purchasing the book if you are on your laptops. Open a second tab, type in amazon.com, type in Allison's name and the name of the book, A.R.I.S.E. And you're looking for the Kindle version, you're looking at the paperback, you're looking at the hard copy. They're going for a great deal right now. And I have a gift for the first 5 who go ahead and can just take that screenshot confirming the payment, and we'll direct you how to share it with us so that we can say thank you for being the first set of persons in supporting Allison on this journey, but that we pray to that it blesses you in why God inspired her. And that inspiration leads me to ask her, what does she want you to walk away with today? Give me one key thing, the first thing that comes to your mind, Allison, that you want persons to take away as a major lesson from the book A.R.I.S.E.
Okay, so the first thing that I would say to persons that never ever give up. So it's a simple, if it's the simplest message that I can leave you with, never give up. There are other pointers that I want to carefully highlight to individuals as well. So I know that, of course, there are persons who are tuning in from various parts of the world, etc. When you read this book, you will recognize that there are different things that I face. All right. So somebody.
All right, I think we're good. I think someone would have muted, but it's fine. You're good to continue, Allison.
Okay, thanks. All right. So okay. So never give up, and also this journey has really inspired me to be even more kind to person, okay, to people in general. You never know what the next individual is facing. So every person you see is facing some sort of battle. So it also encourages person to be kind to others, be mindful of others. Also, I want persons to understand that in life there has to be a challenge. And if I can say this, that not all of your challenges that you face are have to result in being something that's negative. So for example, you're going through a particular thing and you just want to find someone to blame. Oh, this person is the cause of my trouble. The next challenge is this person is the cause of my challenges, or I did not have this opportunity, therefore I cannot progress in life. This book is here to have a different mind. Okay. All right. So it's here to inspire persons to have a stronger mindset. So if you notice, the book says the Hummingbird Strategy for Mental Strength and Sustainable Success. And I'll refer back to the hummingbird. So the hummingbird, I recognize that that bird is very focused. It's tiny, but it's very focused. Why I say it's focused? Because as mentioned before, whatever this bird is doing, it is always keeping busy. So if you notice the hummingbird, the wings are always going, it's tiny, it's always going. It seems as if this bird is just always busy. So I recognize focus. I recognize mental strength when I apply, the principles to my standpoint. So always try to stay strong. I'm here to encourage persons to have this strong mindset. One powerful statement that I shared with persons while I came up with the concept of this book, I didn't just need a miracle. I needed a strengthened mindset, a sustainable mindset. So I'm not the persons who know me, I'm not the type of persons to sugarcoat things and say, okay, it's gonna be better. if I don't recognize that you have the passion to make it better, or if you recognize that you need whatever you're going through and you need to your situation to change, persons here who know me personally will say this to you, hey, all right, sometimes Alison is rough on me, etc. I think I heard somebody mention it today, but it comes from a place of knowing that I have had to fight, okay? And I want persons to recognize that you will have to fight anywhere in the world that you are. If you're in Jamaica, if you're in the UK, if you're in China, if you're in Russia, if you're in, I don't know, Zambia, right? You will have to fight. But the mindset, the approach that you have when these challenges come across is what will bring you through. All right. And I will go even to the extent to say, persons will say to you, from you have God, you have everything. And that is true. God really takes care of us all. But if you don't have the mindset also to recognize that God will take care of you, you will miss so many things. All right, so I'm just gonna leave that there. There are so many things I want to say,
Yeah,
but I'm just gonna
but
leave that.
so true, Allison. And don't mind if you do notice that we do keep, because we wanted to have a very lengthy, more in-depth conversation. We do also concern about the interest of time, because we know that everyone would have to just try to pause and come with us. So we might try to condense things a little bit, but we still want you to get to the heart of understanding the process, the journey Alison would have to go through and to grow through, to spread her wings and write this next book, overcome the challenge, and to teach you and guide you and support you on your journey of doing that. She talked about mental strength in what she was mentioning a while ago, and sustainable success. Now, she would have felt stuck at times, but Allison said she had to get up. And how did she do it? She prayed, she talked to God, but she also knows she had to do it. But sometimes when you're feeling stuck, for some, it can feel a little harder than for others to take that next step. So we want to take you into some of the lessons from the book. And I want Allison to choose one lesson, the first one that comes to her mind, that she thought was the game changer to be unstuck, so to speak. So you too can get to that point when you experience.
Okay, so you want me to select one aspect from the book?
Yes, as far as a lesson, because, and I will help to guide you with it, Allison, because I remember you said it, this is not your first book, but there's something special about this book. It goes vulnerable into your own personal experience. So to get unstuck, what's that first key lesson so that you can take the next step so others who are joining us can bear it in mind when they need to do so?
Okay, all right. So the first key step is to acknowledge whatever challenge you're facing. So what I had to do, I had to acknowledge what, where I was and what I needed to do. So always have that conscious mindset, whatever challenge you're facing, have that conscious mindset to know where you are, for example, and what you need to do. What are the skills that you're going to use to get things done, etc. All right. So for me, I have been a business person for over 20 years. So this is the mentality that I have taken even into my writing. So these are the transferable skills that I utilize in my writing. So I have this entrepreneurial mindset, which stems to the fact that I'm always just keeping very focused. I try to acknowledge what I need to do, what needs to get done, recognizing that I always put in, always cementing the fact that I need to do this. So I cannot depend on somebody else to do it for me. I need to do this thing to make it happen. So always be conscious of acknowledging whatever challenges that you're facing, acknowledging what it is that you're facing. Don't try to evade it. Don't try to go around it. Don't try to put the blame on anybody else. Always try to acknowledge whatever challenges that you're.
Indeed, Allison. You see, when you're going to have to take that first step, sometimes that is what can feel like the most difficult one. And what I want to do is, in preparation for question and answer section, I want you to start sending in your questions if there's anything that stands out for you. For Allison, just note, Allison, type your questions in the chat. So when we get to the question and answer section, I will choose a few of the questions, and well, as much of them as possible. I'd love to get to all of them so that we can get some response from Allison. We'll do the same when our guest speaker will be speaking shortly. And I want to make sure that the guest speaker is here. So just confirm for me, Dr. Thakur, if you are on the line with us. You can give me a reaction. So I want only one person reacting or typing in the chat in relation to this. And if you do look in the chat as well, the link is available for you to go to Amazon. It's at https://www.amazon.com/DP/B0F3N, sorry, that's 33N38PC. So you can see the A.R.I.S.E book. You can see the deals that are available: $2.99 for Kindle, $14.75 hardcover, $13.99 for paperback, and it's a special limited time offer because when April comes to an end, the prices will change. But we just wanted to give it to you at a deal so more persons can access it. So, Allison, I tell you, we're glad that you took this step, because no, you help to be the guide. It's like shining a light in a dark tunnel for the next person who's mentally struggling to arise from their situation, to see a different perspective, to believe in themselves. And so the next question I want to ask you, as you had to do this, is going to be specific to the benefits of getting this book. However, I'm looking out to see if I see questions. So Charm, any questions from you coming to mind so far? Joan, any questions? And while you share your questions, I want to acknowledge Yashika for joining us. Welcome, Yashika. I also want to acknowledge Yvonne for joining us. Welcome. If you are just joining, my name is Crystal Scale. I'll be moderating for Allison Johnson's book launch, A.R.I.S.E, that's now available for limited time offer special deal on Amazon.com. And I want you to know why it's going to benefit you. So Allison, please tell me, now this book will be written. Is it written for a specific person? So is it for someone at a specific stage in their life? And who can benefit from purchasing this book today?
Okay. All right. So persons who would be able to benefit from this book. So I will say to persons who are listening, or to those who are listening, that I try to be as inclusive as possible when writing this book. So as it relates to who would benefit from this book will benefit as many individuals from various backgrounds, from various cultures, etc. All right, so if you notice, I use the term inclusive because inclusion and sustainability, that's part of my brand. All right, so for persons who would have known me otherwise, I do have a lot of educational content relating to inclusion and sustainability. All right, so I'll briefly say this to you, that when I wrote this book, I thought about people, of course, people from various aspects, people from various cultures. Okay, so I thought about the stay-at-home mom when I wrote this book. Right, I thought about, I especially thought about those immigrants, especially those who were recently deported. So while I was writing, I thought about those persons as well. What could be done to motivate this person, etc. I thought about persons who are considered to be expats. So expats are considered persons who are, for example, residents in other countries. So other than their home countries, these are persons who have gone into other countries temporarily to live, to work, etc. Right? I thought about the challenges that they face. I also thought about students when I was writing this book. I thought about the mindset that they need to have when they face various struggles. So in essence, this book benefits as many individuals from various backgrounds, whatever challenges that you're facing. I will just note this so at the back of the book, right? I wrote this, right? So if you have ever felt like the underdog, right? If you have ever felt like you're carrying the weight of generational expectations, if you want to succeed without selling your soul, this book is for you. So as many persons as possible, I really wanted to benefit from this book because in my spirit, I will tell you that this book, I needed to reach international, or be at the international level because this book, as mentioned, I have written other book, but this book is for the people. This book is for those who need to recognize that you have what it takes to be successful. And if you may permit me to say, Crystal, this book helps persons recognize that success is not what others define success to be. So in this book, I wrote about success on my own terms, not the success that we see in the dictionary, not the success that you hear about when you go to school, to wherever it is that you go. But this book speaks about success as I know it to be. All right. And I'll pause there. I'll pause there. All right. Back over to you, Crystal.
And we can understand because you know the gems. There's so much you can say. And it's just too bad that we don't have all day. Not saying I'm going to keep you all here all day, but I will say that when you've walked it and you've lived it and you know others are struggling, you just want to help. And that's what the book is for. And I'm glad that it's so diverse. What do you think? I want to get some reactions. What do you think about what Allison has said? Do you think that there's something that she said that relates to you as to why you think, this is something that I really am interested in checking out? I want to see some reactions. I'm looking for some thumbs up if that's the case. I'm looking for some celebration reactions. I'm looking for some messages in the chat. And while you're there, make sure you do not leave without taking your copy of the link so that you can just copy it, paste it into the website address section on your browser. Thanks, Joan. Joan gave a thumbs up, and you can search for the book. Does anyone notice anything that was said as far as to the benefits of getting those books that makes you think, I think I really want to get this book too? I'm looking for your reaction. If it's not in the reaction via your emoji, I'm going to be checking the comment section for the chat. Nadia gave another thumbs up. Thank you, Nadia. And if anyone else feeling the same action too, but I'm also looking for your questions. I'm looking for your questions so that when I get to the Q&A section, it makes it easy to take note of it. Getting my copy today, Raquel, amazing. Here's what I'm going to share with you. You can, if while we're on the live, or it is that it has ended, but you are among the 5 first persons to purchase your copy today, taking advantage of this limited special time offer. I'm going to just take a screenshot of your confirmation of payment and share it with Allison, if you're able to do so. If you are on the platform, we'll direct you how to do so as well, because we want to gift you something in turn for the gift of your support. Laverne, I appreciate your thumbs up. If anyone else, even if it's not directly to you that is coming to mind, is there someone that comes to mind for you who you think they need to get their hand on this book? I've seen them struggling. I see what they're going through, and I want them to grow. And so, Ms. Williams Nurmita, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If it's not, you can just briefly mute and confirm the correct pronunciation, because hey, our names are such a special gift at birth. I want to make sure I'm calling your name correct, but I do see your thumbs up. If it is that you seen someone out there that you want to be a blessing in their life, to sow that wisdom, I'm looking for your reaction. If there's someone that you know personally who's struggling and you say, you know what, I don't even know how to put it into words, I don't know the right thing to say, I'm hoping this can help them. Namita, thank you for confirming. And you have a unique name. Tell me, what do you know what the meaning is? I would love to hear the meaning of your name. It's such a unique one. It's the first time I've heard your name. And if it is that someone comes to mind who you say, I don't know how to put it into words, I don't know how to guide them, but I want them to succeed. I want them to get out of that reaction, to see it. And I'm looking forward to you, even while we're online. No, you're on your laptop. Open the second tab, copy that link from in the nation. And so as you do what God has blessed her to do, that we want to bless you too. And send a bit more of, even though we are trying to condense it so that we don't keep you online too long, but just the right sauce of time. Don't forget to keep it in the chat. And I will segue into another question that I'm very curious to hear Allison's take on, because the book, it introduces what's called the A.R.I.S.E, A.R.I.S.E tracks. It's the A for awareness, it's the R for restoration, the I for identity, the S for strategy, and the E for empowerment. So awareness, restoration, identity, strategy, empowerment, A.R.I.S.E, the title of the book. I want to know though, something must have personally stood out for you, Allison, when it comes to all of these tracks, when you were struggling most. Could you tell me the word for which one personally stood out for you?
All right. Okay. So as it relates to the various tracks, all right. So the tracks come from or goes back to an initiative that I was inspired to do. So this book is not just a book, another book on the market that, every book that I write, there is a follow-up action. All right. So something needs to be done. So when I wrote this book, I wanted persons to also be accountable. All right. It is part of something that uh, I allow to guide me in everything that I do, especially as a business person. When I was in the classroom, this is something that I would always speak to my business students. So, for example, if you were in my classroom, I would say to you that you just don't, whatever I teach you or whatever I share with you, it's not just for in the classroom. You just don't get to sit an exam at the end of the day and go home. But what you take with you are actions that you must follow up with to guide you in other areas of your life. All right. Now, the Hummingbird Initiative, which is persons who will see this at the back of the book, it is a program or an initiative that has various aspects. So there are particular programs, and of course there are particular tracks. One of the tracks in particular that I want to make mention of, for example, the track relating to empowering stay-at-home moms. All right, so you will find that in some cases there are some mothers who may have taken time taking time from work. All right, so there are different aspects. Persons may go on extended leave, or persons may take a career break, and then of course they have a child, or they have their children, and then they're going back to work. I was passionate about this because I have done various podcasts. So for example, on LinkedIn, there are podcasts that I have done, and I've spoken with individuals from across the world, and I do recognize various challenges that they face. And I recognize that, for example, people who are taking career breaks and then they are going back into the working world, they are faced with so many different challenges. And these persons need to be empowered. The skills that were once relevant, say for example, 5, 10 years ago, you will find out that those skills are becoming so outdated. All right, so the book goes beyond just existing on pages. It goes to an initiative where I help to empower persons from various backgrounds, um, uh, from the various programs and the tracks that are mentioned in this book. All right, so that is one of the track that I would say stands out most.
And I can definitely see why. I appreciate that you highlight the moms. It's not easy being a parent. It's not easy juggling it all. It's not easy doing it as a single parent. And it's definitely not easy, even if you have both parents actively parenting. And it's such a pivotal part, but life too. And I'm glad that you thought about those who are facing deportation. We know some persons, it could just be one thing, not sorting out to extend your stay in time, some glitch, some emergency, some tragedy, something. It doesn't have to be just always a negative connotation. So I'm glad that you thought about them. I do want to segue into my last two questions for you before we move along. But in the interest of time, I do want to make sure that if our guest speaker is here, I confirm. So I give the guest speaker enough time to share the wisdom that she would have for us. So do we have the guest speaker online with us, Allison?
All right, so I am not seeing her. Just want to confirm though, Dr. Renuka, if you're here, I am not seeing her online. I saw. Um, I'm not able to see her, but if she's here, kindly indicate. But if not, then we will just move to the next crystal because I'm not seeing her here. But if she's not
Fine.
here,
And you know what? Life happens. You know, sometimes even the best plans don't go as you hope. Hey, we joined and we took a while to warm up, but I love that I got a chance to talk to you. I love that you got to say some of the things you'd have wanted to say to Allison because you invested your time into her, like you're investing your money and support and love in buying the book. And I have to highlight Raquel because Raquel, I'm telling you, you decided to set the way for everyone else to follow. Raquel said, I just purchased my copy. Thank you so much, Raquel. Show Raquel some love because you know what? It takes a lot to write a book. When Alison talked about the emotional journey, because she's been vulnerable and putting her life story on pages, permanently documenting it in the history of time for persons to come back to. But here's the thing, it's a documented journey to success, sustainable success, like she said, to be like the hummingbird, to be small but mighty, to be focused and to be persistent. So Raquel, just do two things for us because we do want to give to you your special giveaway. And Allison, it's got to be a special one. This is a first confirmation we have. So here are the instructions for others who are also purchasing their book so we can bless you with a thank you for doing so. So what I want you to go ahead and do is take a screenshot of the confirmation of payment. I want to get an honest review from you because you're going to get an insight into the excerpt. So if it's even just based on the excerpt, you can leave your review and take a screenshot of that too. Once those are done, I want you to take both proofs, documented proofs, and send them to Allison's email. Can I go ahead and share the one that I have for you, Allison, or are you just going to type that email in the chat for them?
okay, yes, I can put it in the chat.
So look out into the chat, Raquel, to note that email address. I want you to send your screenshot of your review and your confirmation of payment to Allison, or you can WhatsApp it. You can share the WhatsApp number as well to Allison to do so. And anyone else who is interested in getting your copy, do it. And I want you to think about the reason why we're doing this. One, I want you to be a gift for yourself. You know how you're the person who's always gifting everybody else? You're important too. And sometimes we forget that. The mom who's thinking about everybody else forgets that. The career woman who needs to show up for the boss forgets that. The wife who has to take care of the husband and you love him, but sometimes the love, boy, I love you, but I don't really like you, or I love you, but it's just too much, or I love you, but I feel like I've lost myself in the process of trying to be there for you and to do this and to do that. Or maybe somebody just came to your mind. You've seen them struggle. They're going through the depression. And I'm telling you, sometimes we care, but we don't have the right words to say. The right words matter. But even if we want to encourage, the next, it's from a motivation to an action. So if you want a guide, because sometimes, when you want a professional help, it costs money. Allison can tell you that to get this book at a professional standard, it was going to cost her money, but that love and that inspiration, she put her all into getting it for you. I know she's giving it as a special limited time offer deal. I'm going to remind you, go to Amazon.com, use the link, copy it and paste it into the next tab if you're on your laptop, and you can benefit from the limited time deal before the prices go up after the end of April. It's $2.99 Kindle, $14.75 hardcover copy, and paperback is $13.99, all in USD. And I want you to make sure that if you're getting it while we're on the live, or you ended up, just to make sure we try and get you in the top 5 first purchasers, screenshot confirmation of payment, screenshot that review you leave. You can base it based on your own hearing of the excerpt that Allison will read next. And when you send those, send it to the email address ajohnson_574@yahoo.com. And Allison's website is also shared here. You can leave a review there and share it. And I also want you to follow Allison on social media, because the conversation will go and you can also go back to that tidbit. That's a good word of wisdom. So the benefits, Allison, I highlighted some persons that can benefit. Tell me if there's one thing to say, change someone's mind, to say there's so many books out there. There's so many self-help books. Here comes another one. What would you say to them to say this is the one you need for you or for someone else who you want to gift it to?
Okay. All right. So I just want to say that for this book, it's a self-help book, but it's also a motivational book. It's a book for leaders. It's a book for business persons. So it's a book for business persons. It's a book for leaders. It's a book for students. You will find out that this book is not just another book on the market. It's a book, and I must say that it's very relevant. All right, and this is something that I really recognize myself from writing this book. It's very relevant. There are so many things that are happening in the world right now, and of course, there are other things that we know will happen based on what we observe on the news, etc. But I will say that when you buy this book, you will recognize that it is a book that you will have to share this with someone. So the information, the content, you will want to share this with someone.